The U.S. Senate has just approved a crypto bro. Now, when are we going to get the SEC guy in? David Schwartz talks to us about XRPL. You need to hear about this. We'll talk XRP price at the end. Along with an SEC veteran saying, guess what? All these investigations, they're coming to a screeching halt, and we're going to...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
And oh, do we got lots to cover today, so we're going to have to get right into it. But before we get into it, your comments come first. Frankie starts us off and says, yo, HBAR fans, HederaCon, our inaugural user conference happening on February 25th of 2025 in Denver, Colorado. Yes, Frankie, if news breaks, you know I'll cover it. HBAR fans, I got your back. Ooh, my Oakham Flower says, in your humor and personality, you actually impart a lot of market knowledge and digestible psychological information. Keep up the good work, Klaus. It's appreciated. That's right. I bring you the news, whether it's good, bad, happy, or sad, with a little bit of naughtiness sprinkled on there. Speaking of naughtiness, happy Thirsty Thursday, everyone. Bitcoin's in at 96,299. ETH is 2715. XRP's at 260, up from the 250 lows that we saw yesterday. We'll talk price. Litecoin, deep in the green. Why? They're next on getting an ETF. I'm telling you, the ETF stuff is big news. Sol had a big retracement, now hanging out at 170. Charles says ADA's the gold global standard. Not going to happen at 76 cents, but let's get into it. U.S. Senate confirms Bitcoin advocate Howard Lutnick as the Commerce Secretary. All right, awesome. But where's the SEC and the CFTC guy confirmation? Oh my God, they're so slow. The Senate confirmed Lutnick with a 51-45 vote conducted on Tuesday, February 18th. By the way, when you see a vote of 51-45, essentially what are you seeing? All the Republicans voted one way, all the Democrats voted the other way. So are we working together? Hell no, we're not. This is what he said. Bitcoin should be free to trade everywhere in the world, Lutnick has previously stated, likening it to gold. He defended Tether's USDT reserves at the Bitcoin conference, saying they were fully backed by gold, Bitcoin, and US treasuries. But to be compliant in the United States, Tether's going to have to sell BTC. Yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. So A, they're not going to make as much money, and B, they're going to have to sell the old BTC. Egg prices outpacing crypto. Holy crap, if you looked at the price of eggs, oh my gosh. I'm going to have to get some farm fresh ones out here in the country, because holy shit, I'm not paying $8 a dozen. Bringing this up, why? Inflation concerns. It's not just eggs that are crazy. Food in general is not so price-wise. Now look at this, okay? And I want you to think about this. This is how this ties into crypto, okay? Every time you spend $8 on a carton of eggs, you also decide not to buy something else that might be more useful. That also comes into discretionary funding. So if you're paying shitloads for eggs, a lot for fuel, a lot for this and that, it means you don't have the extra money for crypto. It means that people's extra money, their discretionary funds, is very tight out there. Rent, mortgage, or just SAC stats. Oh, first-time home buyers, historic lows. BTC exchange reserve sink. Okay, again, we're talking about macros. Home values starting to go down. Home, in terms of how long they're on the market, is starting to go up. Okay, so what you're seeing here is you're seeing these asset classes kind of stall out. And if housing is boring AF this summer, that's not going to be good, because then it'll cause a housing demand bubble of which we will have to eat sooner or later. So yes, you might be seeing some light 1-2% reduction in home prices, but if majority of people are like, yo, we're not going to buy right now because rates are too high, guess what? They're going to wait when rates come down. I'm one of those people. I want to buy another house, but I'm like, nah, I don't really want to pay all that in rates. So I'm going to wait till next year, the year after. Been thinking about it a couple years. I'm putting it off. Why? Rates, everyone. All right, David Schwartz breaks the silence on XRPL control claims. Oh, man, you got to read this from David. It's a lengthy one, and if you're into it, it's linked in the description below. But basically what he's trying to say is, hey, look, Ripple doesn't decide what happens on XRPL. That there's a group, a consensus of people that have to make this stuff happen, right? They have to vote on it. We saw Stellar, right? Stellar wanted to launch their Sorban, and all of a sudden Stellar threw their feet in the sand and were like, yo, we're not doing it. And people are like, yeah, but this isn't up to you. Everyone has to vote. And they're like, no, we're just not doing it. So, like, you have to be very careful of that, because some of these organizations do have a shit ton of control. This does get a little bit nerdy, as does most of David Schwartz's posts. So if you want to read it, welcome, link below. Oh, we're almost to 40,000 subs, 38,933. Help me to get to 39,000 today by hitting that subscribe button down below. By the way, About 50% of you aren't subscribed. SEC veteran. Expect regulators' crypto investigations to grind to a screeching halt. We're talking about John Reed Stark. John Reed Stark previously served as the chief SEC Office of Internet Enforcement, tweeted that he expects the SEC to direct the SEC trial unit to pause all crypto-related litigation or alternatively settle or dismiss all crypto cases that have highly favorable terms to the defendants and ones that don't involve fraud, which that would be really good for XRP and Ripple because theirs is not about fraud. And we've already seen that the judges have stepped in with certain things, said, "Nah, girlfriend, this doesn't apply." John Reed Stark, you want to read his? Again, it's super lengthy. I'm bringing the news in case you want to read it. It's linked down below. Basically, what he goes over, though, is what's been happening with the SEC and the steps that they've been taking to get this done. Talking about the SEC purge, the joint motion with Coinbase, the pausing with Binance, the crypto task force, all this stuff signaling us that guess what, everyone? We're gonna have changes. But oh my gosh, it's the patience. And that's why I asked you this, and over 1,100 of you have voted. Hey, are you happy with the current speed of regs appointments in terms of crypto in the United States? 65% of you says no, they're horribly slow, this sucks. So think about that. 2/3 of you watching right now are like, bro, this sucks with how slow they are, and that ties into overall price. People are expecting more with the price. Now, I said earlier that Litecoin was hot. Who's the hottest crypto in the top 20 right now? Litecoin up 31%, followed by XRP up 25%, and that's year to date, so essentially like 50 days or so, okay? So think about that. Litecoin up big time on ETF announcement. I keep bringing up Litecoin's going to be the next one. By the way, XRP has what, everyone? A 65% chance right now of getting approved this year. How much will XRP's price eroni pump on ETF news? Volume is healthy, over $100 billion, up 5% in the last 24 hours. XRP specifically is healthy again, up 8% to 5.1 billion. Korean won pairing is, yes, commanding the money. What are they paying for it? They're paying $270, while the rest of the market is paying $260, $261. Now, I got the 7-day up on the screen, okay? And you can see that, yeah, we've had some low times, but we've also had some bounce backs. This most recent move got us just a little bit below 250, but we've been able to bounce back to 260 since then. Zoom out to the month, and this is what we're talking about here. We're down 20% for the month. We had a test Sunday, Bloody Sunday, which was rough. Then we had about a week and a half of that. Then we pumped up a little bit for Valentine's Day. We didn't get any juicy news. Macros got bad, and now we're reeling on the way back up because we're digesting the macros. The market is pricing in overall the fact that we're not going to get a rate cut in the March FOMC meeting. The market is starting to price in macros such as inflation, like eggs and food and gas and all that being super, super high. It's also starting to price in what? The housing market, which is an absolute mess. And think, a lot of this has to do with rates. Credit card rates, that's tied to the FOMC rate meetings. Home loans, auto loans, business loans, home equity lines of credit, it's all tied to rates. So as the prices of shit gets way high, and you're paying a shitload of interest for it, what does that mean? It means you don't have a shitload of money for crypto. And remember what this article said. Every time you spend $8 on a carton of eggs, change that to anything. Anytime you spend 4 pounds on a liter of fuel. Anytime you spend $10 for a pound of like ground beef. You also are not able to spend that money on what? Something else. Now with XRP, the big thing that I'm looking at right now is I want to see if we can hold onto this 250 move right here. But I also want to see if we can breach through that 270s that we saw here as of late. So let's talk about my ranges and my alerts. Again, my alert is at the 250 mark. We saw a very strong bounce up right here. But I want to see, can we pounce through this 270 and then start approaching that 280? We get a little SEC confirmation, that would definitely help. By the way, the 22nd of February, which is just 3 days away from now, is the deadline for when we're going to find out what the current rules are for the crypto market. So we got some stuff coming up, everyone. But it's Thirsty Thursday, and you're out there thirsty for the news, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. Essentially what we're seeing is this. Support at the 250 mark on XRP, but we're having trouble breaking that 280, trying to get into the 290 stratosphere. But even better if we could get back to $3 where we were before Sunday, Bloody Sunday. So can inflation completely kill the crypto bull run that we're in? No, it can't completely kill it, but it pees on it. It's like throwing a wet blanket on it. It's just not fun. It's not fun to be spending a lot of money for your daily needs. It's not fun to take your kids school shopping and then all of a sudden see how expensive the clothes are, the supplies are. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And like the article said, every time you spend a ton of money on something over here, that means you don't have a ton of money for something over here, and that something over here could be crypto, it could be other investments, it could be you taking care of your health. It's a whole bunch of things out there that's eaten up by inflation. That's why we gotta fix this soon. But it's gonna take some time to do that. This could take months and months and months to unravel the inflation ball. And that does what? It dampens the crypto spirits. Imagine this, if inflation wasn't an issue, prices could get much higher because there'd be that much more capital to float around. But since inflation is high, yeah, pee on the blanket. And you just thought it was pee in the Cheerios. Now we are Kelly everything around here. And by the way, we want to know too, who's in Diddy's books along with Epstein's books. We want the client names, don't we? But oh my gosh, I might not be around tomorrow if a certain 3-letter agency just heard me say that. Uh-oh. But yeah, let's see what happens with these confirmation hearings. And let's see what kind of regs we start getting through. Word on the street has it that we're going to get stablecoin regs first, and then they're going to work on the alts, but that should still be done by May. That's the expectation that the government has set. So for those of you out there that voted, oh my God, this is too slow, I feel your pain. For those of you that are like, yo, we're going faster than we did in the previous regimes, that's true, but it's still slow AF. But I'll keep you informed of the news, and of course, choo-choo, bitches.